Kubiak, our guy Klint,
Yeah.
who got hired up here, and just what you kind of run through what you think how he got that job, what it was that was so appealing about, and you kind of ran through a couple of those things, but now that it's settled in and he's the OC, what can you tell us about him?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One, he really does a great job, and this goes all the way back to Mike Shanahan. That whole offense, that offensive tree with that Kyle Shanahan comes off of, and McVay comes off of, and LaFleur comes off of, and and all those guys that are underlings of Zach Taylor and all those guys that come off of that tree. They do an exceptional job. And they all do it a little bit differently, but it's all basing the same base. And what they really do well is they really tie the run game into the play action game. And those are the things to me that really resonate with me as an offensive player. When you can tie those things together, and it's not just play pass stuff, but I categorize play action into two kind of categories. There's the run action aspect of play action, and then there's the play pass aspect of play action. And they're two entirely different kind of scenarios. And so they tie those things together so exceptionally well, and they make it look identical to a defense. And they really do a great job with the boot keep game and creating some easy access throws off their play action, off their run game. So that's really one of the strong suits of Klint Kubiak and of this offense in general. And so tying all that stuff together, taking pressure off the quarterback. The other thing I think they do an exceptional job of is, like, in today's offense, there are so many, if this, then that kind of scenarios, these kill it or can it systems where, everybody talks about, and young coaches tell me it all the time, like, oh, we want to have a premium play. And I'm like, that's such garbage. Like a premium play, okay, I get it. But sometimes you just need to line up and smash people in the mouth, right? And sometimes you have to understand the value of a nasty 2 or 3 yard gain and what it does for you as an offense. And so they understand that aspect of it. There'll be plenty of plays that are just call it and run it good against everything plays. And that's a belief system. That's a core belief system that they have. And especially in today's offense or today's world of offense versus defense, I think one of the interesting things, Dave, is how defense is morphed based upon the offensive passing game. And nowadays you see, that Vic Fangio cover 2 shell, that quarter shell where they don't want to bring safeties down. They want to read the run game and have guys come in late and fill in the box. And then also, like, everybody's 220 pounds. You got 5 DBs or 6 DBs, and your middle linebacker's 218 pounds and can run like a deer.
Right.
Well, I want to match fat people against skinny people because fat people win those battles. Like, if you get downhill and get fat people on little people, like, you're going to win the majority of those battles. And so I think one of the things that we've seen this year, and obviously Derrick Henry's an exceptional back, obviously Saquon's an exceptional back. You got Kyron Williams, who had an exceptional season, even early for San Francisco before they had so many injuries. When Jordan Mason came in, he was running roughshod through the league. Like, there are a lot of backs that can do these things in today's game. And because the defenses are so small and they play so much sub package, even to base fronts, like, I just want to bludgeon people. I think that's something that offenses are going to start really kind of digging back into. And Klint Kubiak, like, he understands that. He understands that based upon, my knowledge of Klint and my relationship with Klint, and then also, with his dad and with Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan and all those guys off that tree.
Just seems like every year at the Super Bowl. I was mentioning earlier with Lofa Tatupu. Remember the deer antler spray with Ray Lewis, and there was always there's something. But is what's the big story this year? Is it that, or is it maybe the chipped footballs or something else?
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's just, it's the critical moments where the Chiefs feel like, critical third downs, critical plays in the game where the plays, you go back to Super Bowl 57, like that holding call against Bradbury. Come on, that wasn't called the entirety of the game. And that's pretty much done on every single play, at the line of scrimmage inside 5 yards. And it's at the end of the game in a critical moment that it gets called. Like those things bother fans and fan bases, and so um, and part of it is because I hate the Chiefs, and I mean it's not like I love the Philadelphia Eagles either. Like it's hard. Like I think about this. I was telling this story. I took a road trip when my son was pitching for the Arizona Diamondbacks to Philadelphia. I was working in Connecticut at ESPN. I run up on the bullpen because it's like the seventh inning, and these dudes, this father and son. The son's 8 years old. He's flipping my son off. The dog cussing my son. Their mother blanking him and calling my wife, dirty names and calling my daughters dirty names. And I walk up the bullpen. I look at this guy in the face. He goes, "Hey, Stick, will you sign my game day magazine?" Go like, wait, what? That's Philadelphia. Like, I respect it, right? I'm like, that's pretty good that you can just flip it like that. But, I find myself rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is hard to believe that I could come full circle like that.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because of my disdain and my hatred for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Andy Reid's the nicest guy in the world, but maybe it's the nuggies thing. Give me the nuggies or bundle rooski. But bottom line is, I certainly do not want the Kansas City. Well, honestly, it's because I'm one of the seven teams or whatever that have won back-to-back championships, and I don't want somebody to win three in a row.
Yeah.
So it really comes out of jealousy and fear and hatred for somebody doing something that I wasn't able to accomplish.
I love the honesty. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
By the way, there was one of the exchanges with one of the guys on Twitter. They had a screenshot of, I think it was, I don't know if it was your show or somebody else's show, where it showed who they picked in the game, and they all picked Buffalo. And Mark said, you said something along the lines, "Oh, that's just because they all hate you."
Right. They were like all these. No, no, no. It has nothing to do with it's just they hate you guys.
Yeah.
Just face it.
But
I just wish Kansas City fans would embrace it instead of trying to make us like them. Like, just embrace the fact that we all hate your guts.
well, and that's how it was with New England when they were. But New England made it easier
Sure.
because Bill Belichick was a pill, and he just seemed so gruff, and Brady seemed a little whiny. I found it easier to like the Patriots. But where does this, hypothetically, if the Chiefs win this third one in a row, where does that rank them amongst the greatest ever? Are they in that conversation with the Patriots? Do they go beyond them? Where would you put them?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that nobody in the history of the National Football League has done. And, obviously winning six championships, but it's over what, a 2 decade span. And it's incredible what they were able to do. I think they won a couple of championships, and then they didn't have another championship for 10 years between it. So it's amazing what the New England Patriots have done. But to win, I mean, Dave will tell you, I know how hard it is to win in this league and to win back to back to back championships. And you think about just the wear and tear it puts on your body from the standpoint um of all those deep playoff runs. They have played 20 more games over the course of their 4 years or 5 years, and just playoff games. So that's more than a season worth of games in January and February. So, like, to put all that on your body over the course of 3 years and to be able to consistently win and consistently, and I will say this about the Chiefs, and I'll give them their flowers. They are the best team in the league when it comes to coaching, when it comes to critical moments, execution in critical moments. They execute, they make the plays, they have the right calls, they don't make stupid mistakes. They are the best in the business at that, which makes me hate them even more. So, like, it just is. You have to give them their flowers. Their ability to execute in those moments is big time.
Yeah, what are some of the things that make? I think their defense, Mark, is really underrated, and I spent a lot of time talking about Spagnuolo and how good he is, and if you look at
Yeah.
his history, and I think the thing I like about him the most is that you see a lot of very old school concepts in his defense. And I love that, and it's basic, and also you have, I mean, he obviously has exotic stuff as well, but it just seems like of every team that I've watched, their defense is the one that probably makes the fewest mistakes.
Yeah.
Is that
Well, they one number one, Dave. They're the best tackling team in football, and I've said this since day one. If all you do is tackle well, it's going to be difficult for offenses to score. If that's the only thing you do well on defense, just tackle well. They have the fewest missed tackles in all the National Football League. And so it makes an offense have to put 8, 10, 12 plays together on a touchdown drive, on a scoring drive. That's hard for any offense to do without somebody jumping off sides or somebody getting a holding call or, somebody missing a block and you're getting behind the chains. Like, it's really hard to do. And so the best tackling team in football, that's big. And then you mentioned Spags, and I just put something together for my show tomorrow on FS1. And it's attacking protections. And so a lot of times what you get in the NFL is you get a flipper concept, right? By flipper, I mean we flip from one side to the next side based upon one guy, Chris Jones. And it was really interesting. So the Buffalo Bills break the line of scrimmage, and the first thing center does walking up is he points to the linebacker on the left-hand side, and it's Bolton. So instantly they know, hey, slide is coming to the left-hand side. So center, left guard, left tackle have left defensive tackle, left defensive end, and that backer on that side. Well, as soon as they point that out, Dave, guess what? The linebacker Bolton walks up and mugs the center, gets right over the top of him. So what does that mean now for us as an offensive line? I got to call man, mingo, mingo, mingo. Meaning every guy, instead of having that double team initially on Chris Jones, as we work to that middle linebacker, now everybody's singled up. And Chris Jones, beat that left guard like a rented mule. And he's in the face of the quarterback. And guess what? The quarterback's got to throw. And those are the simple things that you talk about. Attacking a protection, understanding exactly what you're trying to do as an offensive line, and how am I going to get my best player, Chris Jones, one-on-one with a guy that can't hold his water. And they do it better than anybody else. They understand what we're doing as an offense better than anybody else, and they take advantage of those things.
Hey, a guy you brought up Andy Reid and how likable he is, and I agree with you. I think it's impossible to dislike him. He just seems like the ultimate nice guy, but he's obviously a brilliant coach. He's had tremendous success, all-time winningest coach in Philadelphia, all-time winningest coach in Kansas City. Yet it doesn't seem like his name comes up when you talk about the all-time great coaches. It's Belichick and others. Mm-hmm. Do you think, is he worthy of being shouldn't he be in that conversation as being amongst the greatest ever, or where would you rank him?
Yeah, no, I think he's right there with Andy Reid, with Bill Belichick. I mean, you think about what he's been able to do and the longevity that he's had, and he's had success everywhere he's gone. And then you look at what he's done in Kansas City. And again, I'll go back to the AFC Championship game. I just watched their third downs, and in their third downs, they never got into the same formation or the same personnel grouping one time. And they had all kinds of unique formations out of their third down packages. And what that does for you as a player is, and this is the brilliance, it keeps you engaged when we run the same crap all the time. We just put a bunch of different window dressing on it. But when all of a sudden you got to think, and all of a sudden you go, hey, man, we got this great play and this great formation, and players get excited about that. And the players on the sideline go, oh, we're going to run this play in the goal line. We're going to run this play on third down. And it's something special that we've got concocted. And guys get excited about that. And it keeps guys locked in. It keeps guys excited about playing and excited about going out and executing it. Even if it's one play where a fullback or maybe an offensive tackle or an offensive guard gets to be a lead blocker or gets to catch a football. I go back to my career in Washington in 1991. We were the best team in football, and it wasn't even close. And we had a guard who was my teammate, backup guard by the name of Mark Addix. He was my roommate, played 10 years of professional football, went to Harvard Med School, and is now an orthopedic surgeon in Houston, Texas. I mean, the guy's way smarter than Dave and I, combined. That's how smart this guy is, right? And so we put this play in for him, and we never ran trick plays, but we had this trick play in the goal line, 2-point conversion play. And this is how this stuff resonates with players, right? Like all these little quirky formations and quirky things that you do. So Russ Grimm was secretly on the side. We were all in on it. Was secretly on the side paying Mark Rippon to throw bad balls in practice to Mark Addix so that he would drop one. And then Russ Grimm might be able to take his place in that position and catch a touchdown. And so this goes on for 8 weeks, and every time Mark Rippon throws a ball to Addicts, Russ pays him $20 to throw a bad ball. And it's not like uncatchable, but they're like these unbelievable catches. And Alex is, 305-pound offensive guard. He's stabbing things one-handed to the back of the end zone. Yeah, he's the shoestring catches. He's making every catch you could imagine. And we're all cheering. We're so connected. It's so awesome. And every time he does it, Rippon is getting $20 from Russ. And it's just like there's no way he's ever going to replace Mark Addicts, and Russ is never going to catch a touchdown. So we get in the final game of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. We run the play. It's the only time we've ever called the play. We run the play. Addicts is wide open. Nobody covers him. Mark Rippon throws him a little lollipop, goes right through his arms, down his gullet, down his big belly, hits the ground between his legs, right? He made every catch for 8 weeks in a row. And we never let him live it down. We had it up on film. We all the way through the playoffs and to win a championship. We did nothing but make fun of him for that. But those are things that keep you connected. And those are little things that a coaching staff does that keep players inspired, keep them engaged, keep them locked in, and keep them having fun. When things get hard and things are not great, those are the things that really matter. And Andy Reid probably does it better than anybody else.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool this year. We were talking about the Seahawks ran a play where they threw it to JSN, and then he throws it backwards to Charbonnet across the field. And, you said that kind of breaks up the monotony and the grind and everything.